Subscribe to our YouTube channel to hear exclusive interviews, game highlights, along with thoughts and comments from King James Radio Network founder Corbett Thompson, including rants about his beloved New York Mets.
Corbett Thompson here at Guido de Torres Field in North Brunswick, New Jersey for our Raiders Rewind, if you will, as we take a look at the North Brunswick Raiders baseball team and this past week, the opening week of the 2019 high school baseball season. And so, for the Raiders, interesting week. They finish up at 1-2, as they lost the first two games and came back earlier today, Saturday, and beat Colonia 1-0. Second straight year, by the way, that the Raiders have gone to Colonia and beaten them 1-0. They did it last year behind Danny Reardon getting the victory. Danny Reardon now pitching at Rutgers Newark, and this year Christian Petrillo gets the win with a 4-hit shutout, beating Colonia 1-0. So, and the only run of the game, came in without the benefit of a hit. So, the Raiders finding a way to, get the job done and win to get into the win column at 1-2 now. Colonia, they dropped to 1-3, 1-2 in the GMC White. So, the Raiders and Colonia now both even in division play as they converge, and they will meet here at the Torres Field on Monday. And, of course, we'll have the game on the King James Radio Network at jamesisking.com. At, 4 o'clock is the, starting time. Raiders Live pregame at 3:45. And so Monday, a big game. But, looking at the GMC White for just a second and the division, I look at South Plainfield at the top. Those two wins over the Raiders propel them now to a 3-0 start in the, 3-0 and 2-0 in the division. And Woodbridge is up next. Now, Woodbridge, they got a win today, a big win over Sayreville today behind Joey Musilli and his arm. So now Woodbridge in the mix at 2-1. So Woodbridge will game, actually a half game behind South Plainfield right now in the White Division. And then you follow that up with St. Joe's. They're 1-1 in both overall and division. And so St. Joe's, you always have to factor them into the mix in whatever division race there may be. So, and the Raiders will see St. Joe's later on this month. But Sayreville, they're 2-2 overall, 1-2 in division. And, for Sayreville, probably not, not an easy pill to swallow losing to Woodbridge today. But, the Bombers, the Raiders will see the Bombers. They'll see Sayreville later on this week. It's a home-and-home series. So the first game will be on Thursday at Sayreville at Waterfront Park there. And then on Friday, they will come back here and play that home-and-home. But, up next, of course, North Brunswick, and then Colonia, who the Raiders just beat today. They're, again, 1-3 overall, 1-2 in the division, and then followed by Edison. Now, Edison, interestingly enough, Edison, of course, back in the GMC White, they're 2-0 overall, but they have not played a division game yet. They will do that on Monday. So Edison, just getting into the fray, so to speak. So when you have, let's see, you have 7 teams in the division here, 7 teams in the White Division, so there's going to be one team that's the odd team out. That just happens to be Edison here. So they will begin division play on Monday, I believe against South Plainfield on Monday. So, there you have that. But, yeah, like I said, the Raiders, they get to have Colonia coming up here in the second of their home-and-home. Now, I'm just guessing the projected starters here. I haven't talked to either head coach Mark Blevins or head coach Mike Scialfo for Colonia. I haven't talked to either one. But I'm thinking that, for Colonia, you're going to see Noah Ruiz, who pitched a complete game, allowed 4 runs to Woodbridge in a complete game victory in Colonia's win. So I'm thinking you're going to see him, as the number 2 guy behind Nick Nielsen. But for the Raiders, honestly, I don't know. You could see Tyler Summer again, or you could see Ariel Regalado. Mark Blevins put David Nazario in the game, the last home game the Raiders had here. So if I had to take a guess, I would say Regalado, but I don't know that. So that's just a guess on my part. So we'll see what happens come Monday. But they have the 3 sophomores. They still have Andrew Tan in the fold if they need to go to him. Christian Petrillo, he'll need 4 days rest, so he'll come back probably on Thursday at Sayreville. So that's kind of a glimpse into the rotation of the Raiders right now. But, you look at the overall, the big picture, the rest of the schedule, like I said, now the Raiders, after Colonia on Monday, they go to Old Bridge on Tuesday, Tuesday the 9th, and that's a crossover game. I don't think that the Raiders will see Sonny Fauci in that game, although they did see him last year. So never say never. So we'll see what Old Bridge puts out. But like I said, you get the 2-game set with Sayreville after that, and then on Sunday, a week from tomorrow, you have Hillsborough in the Autism Awareness Baseball Challenge at North Brunswick Community Park, the Sunday night game. Sunday night at 7 o'clock. We'll be on the air at 6:45. And so couple of non-division games, one crossover, one out of conference, and you throw in the 2 games with Sayreville in there, and you got an interesting week for the Raiders and some more crossover games on the following week. So we'll see how Mark Blevins will play it with his pitching staff. And I said before, I said in the beginning, that's going to be the biggest challenge for the Raiders this year, is how to deal with the starting pitching in particular. The bullpen is one thing, but the starting pitching in particular, like I said, you got 3 sophomores, you got Tan, but you probably would rather like to see Tan play in the field either at shortstop or behind the plate or what have you. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of mix Mark Blevins comes up with. But with that being said, it'll be an interesting week coming up. And again, it starts on Monday at 4 o'clock against Colonia in Game 2 of that home-and-home series. And again, we'll be on the air with our Raiders Live pregame presented by the Cal team at Remax Country at 3:45. Nobody's hitting right now for the Raiders. So, you got 2 teams that are struggling offensively. Colonia is hitting 154 as a team. The Raiders are hitting at 143. So neither team has produced a lot of runs here. The Raiders have a grand total of 6 runs in the 3 games they played. Colonia has a grand total of 10 runs in the 4 games that they played. So, like I said, neither team has been able to get going offensively. So we'll see if somebody breaks out on Monday or not, or will this be another pitcher's battle? I'm leaning towards another pitcher's battle. They say good pitching beats good hitting, right? Or good pitching beats not so good hitting. But either way, I think this will be probably more of a pitcher's game on Monday, but we'll see. I certainly could be wrong. I've been probably every day of my life I've been wrong about something. So with that being said, like I said, nobody's really gotten going yet. And now nobody has 10 at-bats yet. The most at-bats by a Raiders hitter is 9 so far. So nobody's at 10 at-bats yet. So I don't want to, throw down any gauntlets or anything like that after only 9 at-bats. So we'll see what happens after this week, going forward. So that's kind of a brief look at what's going on with the Raiders baseball team. And again, we get set for Monday against Colonia. South Plainfield, that second game that they lost to South Plainfield, they were stymied by Rob Gonzalez there in the later innings, and he just threw gas. And I thought the turning point of that game, the game where the Raiders lost 6-5, the second game, not the one where they lost 6-0, but the one they lost 6-5. I thought Gonzalez coming in and getting the 2, 3, 4 hitters in that 6th inning was the difference there. So I thought that was interesting. I thought that was the difference in that game, where once you got the 2, 3, 4 hitters out and you got towards the bottom of the order, that made it a little bit easier for Gonzalez to kind of go through the Raiders order and close out the game. So we talked about it's going to be up to the 1 through 5 guys to come out and hit. If that doesn't happen, then it's going to be a long season. If that doesn't happen, so that's what you're looking for. When you're when you're at the plate. Trying to put some hits together, the 1 through 5 guys. So we'll see if the Raiders can do that come Monday and beyond. The game today against Colonia, it was all Christian Petrillo, right? He, 4-hitter. And, so that's what you needed from your ace, your number 1 guy, going up against their ace, Nick Nielsen. So great job, of course, by Petrillo. And, great job by, the Raiders defense as a whole, not giving the game away. So you'll take that and you move on to Monday and you try to make it 2 in a row and try to get a sweep, and which will help you come GMC tournament time. So with that being said, we'll talk to you again next time. Corbett Thompson for the King James Radio Network saying goodbye, Godspeed from Guido de Torres Field, back here, Guido de Torres Field here in North Brunswick. And we will talk to you on the radio on Monday, 3:45 Raiders Live, 4 p.m. first pitch. Until then, you folks, have a good weekend.